Earlier this spring, we had a new game release called Slime RNG. It didn't take long before this game would gain a pretty big popularity, so big in fact that it would very often stay in the top 10 highest player count games on the entire platform. And with the help of admin abuses, the game even managed to get over 1 million players multiple times. This game alone managed to boost the entire RNG game trend's popularity. But lately, you might have noticed how this game just vanished from the front page. The game used to easily get over 100,000 players every day, but as of right now, it has gone below 10,000, all that in a span of just 1 month. And some people have been noticing how fast the game's player count has been going down for the last few weeks. The game is basically just like any other RNG game, as in that to actually make some progress, you need to roll a dice for a random slime. You just get rarer and better slimes, earn more coins, and unlock more areas. You have plenty of upgrades, and eventually you get to rebirth, which awards you with even more luck. It's a pretty simple gameplay loop that I think anyone would understand. But this is also where the first and probably even the main problem of the game shows up. The game is very simple, just like any other RNG game, basically, since that is kind of the point. And your main goal in this game is to just roll a dice and hope you get lucky. This is an RNG game after all, so it makes sense. And the game does feel pretty good for a beginner. That is, if you like playing games like this. You get to pretty quickly unlock new areas, buy more upgrades, and even get your first rebirths, but most importantly, your slime team will constantly get better and better at a pretty good pace. But that's where the problem actually is. While everything is quite good at first, eventually you will find yourself at a point where things are barely moving. It's completely normal to have progression slow down the more you play, it's just how slow everything actually becomes. Rebirths are the main thing that boost your luck. That is how you get into millions of luck multiplies. But in my case, I need 33 billion goop, which with the slime team I have right now would take me at least 70 to 80 hours to get. And if I were to rebirth, I would have to get double that amount of goop, which takes even longer, as you understand. The solution provided is luck you get from those rebirths. But just like everything else, the more you progress, the harder it is to upgrade your team. In my personal case, I need slimes that get into quintillions to actually make a noticeable difference in my team power. But that is quite a challenge. And I mean, it does make sense for RNG game to be like this, as I mentioned earlier. It's just that this game wants to have more grindy aspects besides the rolling mechanic. Besides rebirth, you also got upgrade tree as another thing to grind for, and it's pretty cool. But just like everything else, it becomes too hardcore and slow eventually. Here I got a luck upgrade which will take me quite a while to afford, and I will get a 50% extra luck, which is like nothing compared to the 1,300% luck I already have from the upgrades. But besides the upgrade tree and relying on your luck, you can also feed your slimes to level them up, which does help quite a lot, and there are power fruits which give them abilities. These two things are definitely a nice addition, but eventually even that doesn't help you to move at least a bit faster. Basically, a lot of people, including me, have quit the game simply because of how slow the game begins to get, considering this game is meant to be both about RNG, but also progression. And I know many others have similar opinion on the game at least, because I've seen people mention repetitiveness of the game and how things get too hard to get. Speaking of things that are too hard to get, I still haven't mentioned something: the updates. When I first played the game, Steampunk was the final area, and I actually got to it without many problems. The new updates always added more areas for obvious reasons, but the problem is that it kept on getting harder and harder to unlock all of the new areas before even more were added. You just simply could not catch up with the new content. Like the new areas, even if at one point you did have all of them unlocked and kept on spending a decent chunk of time on the game. You could even say the same thing about new slimes and some upgrades in the upgrade tree, but unlocking the areas has definitely been the hardest part of updates. And on the topic of updates, the game has received weekly updates up until 12th of June. This is when it got its latest update so far. In the changelog, they do mention that there will be new content next week, but that never happened, it seems. All thought, while working on this video, the game did receive a new event in the description, which confirms that there will be a new update a whole 3 weeks since the last one. And I think the fact that the game hasn't been updated since 12th of June probably explains why the game's player count is down so much. However, if you check the player count for Slime RNG in the past month, you can see how even when it was updated, its player count was going down really fast already then. All that lack of updates did is just slightly speed up the process. But why did people quit so fast even with updates? It's pretty simple, the same repetitiveness I mentioned earlier. The updates add more areas, slimes, and upgrades mostly, which is something you get bored of pretty fast. What this game needs is more things that will add at least a bit to the gameplay, while also making the game at least a bit easier for players. An example are the power fruits. You get them only after spending some time in the game, and they do add a little bit to the gameplay, since they aren't like the other items and you collect them by hand. And besides that, they do help quite a bit with progression in the game too, without you having to rely too much on luck. They are still luck-based, but a lot less than slimes. What they do is make your slimes look cooler, but also quite a bit more powerful. This is the kind of things they should have added more of, since, as I said, it makes the game feel less repetitive, while also making the game a bit easier for everyone. The only other thing that also helps you to progress easier are the slime guns. They do actually help quite a bit, but the catch is that you have to always have the game opened with auto-clicker on it to benefit from it. But slime gun and power fruits are basically the only things like this. There hasn't been much added that actually helps you to progress. The UFOs the game had at one point just gave out some free items, and the wheels added in the latest update aren't exactly the greatest. Despite having septillions of coins, the wheel only gives me a few billions, and the odds to get slimes that would be at least somewhat useful to me are extremely low. It does seem like you can roll the wheel quite often, but there is only a few things that can be useful out of it. Many RNG games usually did not last long before going down, and Slime RNG, despite being able to peak at over 1 million players a few times, eventually began to lose a lot of players very quickly. Souls RNG, which is basically the game that began the entire RNG trend, is actually the most popular RNG game as of right now, despite being out for over 2 years at this point. Slime RNG just simply did not receive the right type of updates when it needed them the most. And at this point, it seems like no updates might bring back the players this game had just a month ago. Anyway, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It helps the channel quite a bit. You can watch one of these videos while waiting for a new one. They are good too. Play our game, or join my Discord server with links in description, and I will see you soon.